The birth of a seeker. In the humid dusk of December 1960, in the bustling district of Gia Dinh, Vietnam, a boy was born who would one day walk not just the physical roads of the world, but the even harder paths of spiritual peace. He was named Ngo Ngoc Quang, but destiny would give him a name in the ancient language of the Buddha, Ratanaguṇa, jeweled virtue. From a young age, Quang, Ratanaguṇa, in becoming, felt the pulse of life more intensely than most. While other children played beside the clear water canals of Saigon, he sat quietly, watching the slow dance of leaves on water, contemplating impermanence without understanding the term for it. He sensed that life was more than the bustle of markets and street vendors, that somewhere beneath the surface there was a deeper current. That feeling grew into a hunger, the sort that pulls a heart toward truth. When he was just 12 years old, the young Quang announced to his astonished parents that he wanted to become a monk. In a culture where monastic life was revered, this was not unusual. Yet there was something about his calm tone, his unwavering gaze, that hinted this decision wasn't fleeting, but foundational. In July 1972, at Pho Minh Pagoda in Govap, he shaved his head and donned the ochre robes of a novice monk. The ceremony was simple, but something profound whispered in the moment. This was the turning point of a life that would one day touch thousands. The early monastic life. The temple courtyard was scented with incense and heavy with silence. For a boy who had never known true quiet, this was both a balm and a challenge. The monks moved with serene purpose, waking before dawn, chanting, meditating under the sky's slow bloom. Young Ratanaguṇa struggled at first. The morning cold bit into his bones. His mind bounced like a restless ball. But every evening, he would sit under the Bodhi tree, his eyes softening, breathing in and out, learning the art of stillness. Meditation was not mystical to him. It was honest labor, a refining of the spirit. By July 1981, after years of disciplined study and daily life in the monastery, he took full ordination as a bhikkhu at Kivien Tu in Saigon. The temple bells sang that day. For the first time, Ratanaguṇa understood a deeper meaning in the chants, that every sound was a reminder of impermanence, every moment a new beginning. His teachers saw something rare in him, an equilibrium that balanced compassion with quiet strength. Monks would ask his counsel, and lay people would listen to his words with deep respect. He spoke not with arrogance, but with a humility that invited openness. Across oceans. The world of the 20th century moved at warp speed. Wars, migrations, transformations. The Vietnamese community scattered beyond borders, and with them went reminders of home, food, music, language, and Buddhism. In this tapestry of transplanted hearts, Ratanaguṇa felt called to serve. He traveled to the United States and eventually took root in Fort Worth, Texas at Huang Jiao Temple. Here, he became president of the Vipassanā Bhāvanā Center, a place for meditation, study, and community. For many Vietnamese refugees and Americans alike, this temple became a refuge. Fort Worth was nothing like the tropical temples of Vietnam. The sky was wide, the air dry, and winters were sharp. But in the quiet hall, where candles flickered against white walls, the teachings of the Buddha took root. Ratanaguṇa taught Vipassana, the practice of insight, but he didn't teach it as technique. He taught it as a way of life. Awareness in breath, awareness in pain, awareness in joy. If life was suffering, as the Buddha said, then awareness was the path through it. Students learned physical stillness first, but soon they learned emotional stillness. They discovered that the mind, with its clamor of past and future, was like a river that never rests unless one learns to sit beside it. Ratanaguṇa was not distant like a mountain. He was steady like the earth beneath it. The making of a teacher. Years in the monastery had taught him patience. Years in the West taught him adaptability. Western students arrived with questions that were not merely academic, they were existential. Some carried trauma. Others carried ambition dressed as curiosity. In every case, Ratanaguṇa listened first, spoke second. He said little about himself. Monks seldom do. But through his silence, students learned more than simple doctrine. They learned how to confront their own shadows. One evening, a student asked him, "Venerable, I try to meditate, but my thoughts wander constantly. How do I stop them?" Ratanaguṇa smiled, not condescending, but deeply knowing. "Your thoughts are clouds," he said. "You don't stop clouds from forming. You simply watch them pass. That is meditation." The student sat quietly, feeling for the first time that struggle itself did not disqualify him from peace. The student's journey begins. By 2025, a remarkable initiative was taking shape. The WalkForPeace. The world had grown noisy, divided, and heavy with unrest. It needed more than words. It needed footsteps, attention, and courage. This time, the person leading this journey was not Ratanaguṇa himself, but his devoted student, Bhikkhu Pāṇikāra. Ratanaguṇa watched quietly as his student prepared. Years of training, meditation, and teachings had molded Pāṇikāra into a monk capable of walking not just across cities and towns, but into the hearts of those who had lost faith in peace. The mentor's role was subtle but profound. He offered guidance, shared insights during quiet conversations, and reminded Pāṇikāra that true leadership begins with self-awareness. In their last meeting before the walk began, Ratanaguṇa said, "Peace is not a title you earn, Pāṇikāra. It is a path you walk, one step at a time, with awareness and compassion." Pāṇikāra bowed deeply, carrying his teacher's words in every breath, every step. Walking with awareness. The journey started quietly. Monks, laypeople, children, and elders joined Pāṇikāra in a procession that wove through small towns, cities, and countryside. Ratanaguṇa sometimes accompanied them for segments of the walk, offering instruction and sharing moments of reflection, but mostly he observed from the sidelines, a guiding presence rather than a central figure. Along the way, participants encountered all facets of life: joy, sorrow, fear, hope. Pāṇikāra taught them to breathe through difficulty, to let anger soften into understanding, and to recognize that every interaction, no matter how small, could be an act of compassion. At a small Texas town rest stop, a local resident approached Pāṇikāra with tears in her eyes. She had lost her husband the previous year, and grief weighed on her daily. Pāṇikāra knelt, silently listening, before softly saying, "Grief is love in another form. You honor what was by letting it live in your heart, gently, without clinging or resisting." From afar, Ratanaguṇa watched this moment unfold, feeling a quiet pride in his student. He knew that Pāṇikāra was embodying lessons they had both learned in years of meditation and monastic discipline. Global resonance. The Walk for Peace reached beyond the United States. In Sri Lanka, a land rich with Buddhist history, Panakkara was welcomed by local monks and lay people alike. Ratanaguṇa, while not present, had advised him extensively in preparation, emphasizing humility, clarity, and the importance of witnessing suffering without judgment. In a sunrise ceremony by the Indian Ocean, Panakkara addressed a crowd. Peace is not imposed from outside. It begins within, in our breath, our attention, our willingness to see the truth of life clearly. Each step we take is a prayer, a commitment to compassion. Thousands listened, moved not just by the words, but by the example of a monk walking miles with courage and presence. Ratanaguṇa's teachings echoed in every step, though he remained in the background, the silent foundation of Panakkara's courage. Lessons in stillness. Throughout the walk, Ratanaguṇa reminded Panakkara and other young monks that true leadership is grounded in inner stillness. One afternoon, under a sprawling oak, Panakkara asked, "Venerable, how do we maintain peace in a world full of chaos?" Ratanaguṇa smiled, letting the breeze shift the leaves above them. "Peace is a seed," he replied. "The world may be harsh soil, but every moment of mindful attention waters it. Your task is not to control the world. It is to nurture clarity and compassion within yourself. Everything else will ripple outward." In that simple teaching, Panakkara learned that walking for peace was as much about internal transformation as it was about external action. Return home. After months of walking, meeting, listening, and guiding, the journey led back to Fort Worth. Panakkara was exhausted but illuminated. Each mile had taught him something profound about humanity, suffering, and the possibilities of kindness. Ratanaguṇa greeted him not with fanfare, but with gentle acknowledgement. "You have walked well, Panakkara. Remember, this is only the beginning. Every day you live in awareness, you continue the walk." The community, lay people, and monks alike understood that the journey's success was not measured in miles, but in awareness sown, compassion shared, and hearts touched. The legacy of guidance. Venerable Ratanaguṇa's life, though largely spent in meditation and teaching, manifests profoundly in the actions of his students. Panakkara's Walk for Peace is a living testament to his mentorship, a blend of discipline, wisdom, and compassion. The story of the walk reminds us that leadership does not require limelight. True influence often manifests quietly through guidance, example, and the cultivation of virtue in others. Ratanaguṇa's greatest legacy is not in titles or positions, but in the lives transformed by his teachings. Footsteps taken by those like Panakkara, carrying the jewel of his wisdom into the world. This story celebrates Venerable Ratanaguṇa as a teacher, guide, and mentor, whose wisdom empowers his students to act courageously and compassionately. The Walk for Peace, led by Bhikkhu Panakkara, is both literal and symbolic, a journey demonstrating that peace begins within, ripples outward through mindful action, and is nurtured by the steady support of those who walk before us. Peace is not a destination, it is a journey, and in every step, the teachings of Venerable Ratanaguṇa continue to shine.